The sun is setting on New York as we come to you this evening, and the sun is setting on another soccer season, which for PSG has been standout, but it does end here with a loss in the Club World Cup final. However, 4 of 5 is not bad. They have won the rest of the finals that they have played in this season. But as for the Club World Cup, that accolade will go to Chelsea.
That bottom one, it's easily kind of airbrushed out of a graphic. It's not really a major drama.
So let me ask you then, Frank, does this take a shine off PSG season in any way, what's happened this evening?
I don't think so. I mean, it was a non-game. I think, I don't know the reason why, you can say they were tired, but Chelsea can say the same. Maybe the rotation system that Maresca put on during the season allowed the Chelsea player to be less tired, I would say, but there is no explanations. I think they were not there. Again, it was a non-game, nothing worked, players were not tuned in. And there is no explanations, but the season they had cannot be erased, and the result that they had cannot be erased by that competition, because overall nobody cares about that competition. They can win like 6 titles of the 7 that they have to play, because they will have to play some other titles, when the summer it's gonna come back, like the Super Cup and whatever it can be. But the main thing that they had to win, they wanted the French Cup, the Ligue 1 and the Champions League. So it would have been an extra result, and it's sad for the players, because they showed to the world that they were the best team, but today they didn't show it. And as I said, they faced a fantastic Chelsea where nobody were expecting them to play at that level. So maybe they didn't take it seriously. Maybe that's the only reason that I have to explain why they weren't there today.
That's like saying if Real Madrid had won this competition, which they clearly were not good enough to do, that would have expunged their poor season domestically in Spain, where they didn't win anything. They would have tried to paint it that way, but nobody would have believed them. And at the end of the day, this has absolutely no bearing on what Paris Saint-Germain achieved this season. Zero. Nothing. Their objectives at the start of the season were to be French champions again, win domestic trophies in France, but more importantly, the holy grail for them, and has been for quite some time. Yep. And millions and millions and millions of dollars spent, including having Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi and Neymar all there at the same time, trying to win the Champions League and failing miserably because it was a circus. And they achieved that this year with a new manager, with a new team being team, and what they did in the Champions League in particular in the second half of the season was amazing. And when you think about it, 65 games before these lads go and be able to take a break, I think it tells you everything you need to know. So they've achieved what they wanted this season. Full credit to them. Today was a pretty horrible day for them. But I bet they're just glad they can go and put their feet up and get some kind of a rest.
Yeah. Some fiery scenes at the end, though, Shaka. We saw with Luis Enrique and Joao Pedro. Also, Donnarumma involved in that.
I thought that was distasteful. And while, to everybody's point, I don't think the result takes anything away from PSG and their successes this season, I just felt those scenes kind of takes away maybe from a more lasting memory of how classy they've been on the pitch all season long. Especially somebody, and I hate to single out Luis Enrique, but because of who he is, what he represents within this club, and the good feeling that just Luis Enrique seems to command wherever he is, wherever he goes. I thought those scenes, again, were out of character and desperately distasteful. Could have done without. So result itself, nothing to lose any sleep over, but I expected a little bit more from them. And I'm sure they would feel the same kind of now as he does his.
You have to single Luis Enrique out. You can't do that as a coach. When you lose, you take it on the chin. Yeah. And you look at the two managers during all this. You got one manager, Maresca, who's running around, pulling people away, telling them to go, just get out the road. And you've got Luis Enrique shoving the opposition to the ground. I mean, it's unacceptable. He deserves to be pulled out.
Well, it's not just that. He's going to be facing some sort of ban now, unfortunately. But he will. I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, they
deservedly so.
They cannot overlook this because you're setting a precedent. So that's a problem for him, and it is out of character. And I think we've seen this from PSG as the competition has gone on. The red cards, that's 3 red cards, I believe, plus all the altercations at the end of the game. So it started here with the awful challenge by Pacho, which was awful on Goretzka. So that was the 2-game ban. And then we saw the elbow from Hernandez, needless, absolutely needless here, back up into the face of Guerrero, right in front of Anthony Taylor. And then today, I mean, Cucurella's a player who annoys a lot of people, and guess what? He's got long hair. But you can't pull it. And you just cannot do this. We've seen this before, and we've seen the consequences. And I think this frustration boiled over, and now we have arguably one of the best managers in the game, one of the calmest managers in the game, losing the plot. And one scenario here that you just can't get involved in that. If you're a player, you can't do it. If you're a manager, you certainly can't do it. But what we maybe have here, within the frustrations of the PSG camp, they are now the king of the castle. Not Real Madrid, not Barcelona at the moment, not Liverpool, not City, not Arsenal, not Inter Milan. PSG are currently, they have been the team to beat. Maybe that's why we saw Chelsea approaching this game in the manner in which they approached it, and maybe that's why we saw the frustrations from these Paris Saint-Germain players. Because the Chelsea players were trying to rattle them. When they were pressing, they were being aggressive, they were leaving an arm in, they were leaving a leg in. Because you have to do that when you're playing against the best team in Europe. You've got to try and find another way to get into their head, get into their psyche. And Chelsea did that today, as well as playing some great football. They harassed and they frustrated and they annoyed this Paris Saint-Germain team to the point where they got frustrated. But maybe that's something, to my point, is they're going to have to get used to. Because being the European champions in the manner in which they did by obliterating Inter Milan in the final 5-0, as we sit here now, and when the season starts next in August, in the middle of August, when it starts in Europe, the team to beat in Europe are Paris Saint-Germain. And when you're the team to beat, you're the team that every player comes after. And maybe we just saw a little bit in that game today.
PSG top of the tree right now among European football for you too, Mark?
Oh yeah, I mean, nothing has changed today. They're still the best team in the world. I mean, they hammered Real Madrid 4-0. They put 4 past Atletico. They put 2 past Bayern. That was 10-0 on aggregate against 3 of the best teams in Europe. So what happened today was blip. They had 1 less day to rest than Chelsea. A couple of players missing. So you can't basically say that PSG have been knocked off their perch on the back of this. But you know, to Craig's point about what happens now with Luis Enrique and Joao Neves, it's a big question that because we don't actually know, because this is a FIFA competition. So if you get sent off in the Champions League, you serve a Champions League ban. If you get sent off in a domestic league, you serve a domestic ban. So what happens now? Does Joao Neves wait for 4 years to serve his ban in the next Club World Cup? Will Luis Enrique have to serve his ban in a FIFA competition? Because it's a FIFA competition, and as we know, FIFA and UEFA don't get on quite well at the moment, so are UEFA going to say, yeah, you can serve your ban in the Champions League? So there's a few questions to be asked there, but ironically, Gianni Infantino said yesterday that his disciplinary panel have had a holiday in New York in America because, well, for more reasons than that, but because there's been nothing to do. They've had such a quiet tournament. Well, they've got a few issues to unpick after the game tonight with that post-match brawl, but I don't know, like we said, we don't know when they're going to serve it or where they'll serve it.